Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm LIANA for LIANAVibes.com, and in this video we're going to discuss two dynamics which correlate and afflict relationships. The first is the Dismissive Avoidant and Anxious Preoccupied dance, and the second is Narcissism and Codependency. Before we begin, please like and subscribe so we can vibe on the constant. And now, let's get into the video. What is your attachment style? This is the baseline understanding of what influences your behaviors in a relationship and how you use it to relate to someone intimately. There is secure attachment, then there's insecure types, dismissive avoidant, anxious preoccupied, and fearful avoidant. If you need help further understanding which attachment style you are, please order and read the book Attached by Dr. Levine, and watch Thais Gibson's YouTube channel, which I'll leave a link in the description box below. Next, are you codependent in your relationships? Are you narcissistic? If you watched my previous video on narcissism, you will have a general idea if you are a narcissist. The general rule of thumb is if you lack empathy and have an inability to self-reflect on your intrinsic motivators. The most dangerous combinations is if a person is both a dismissive avoidant and a narcissist, and if a person is an anxious preoccupied and a codependent. Let's break it down. Number 1, dismissive avoidants generally create distance in relationships, especially from close emotions. That is not their comfort zone. They are usually characterized by feeling as though their partners are being clingy when they simply want to be emotionally closer, withdrawing and coping with difficult situations alone, suppressing emotions, extreme desire for independence, having a worldview that they can only depend on themselves, easily abandon relationships, and have an easier time cheating emotionally or physically. Furthermore, narcissists cannot fundamentally care about anyone else's emotions because their energy is so greatly spent on their entitlement, grandiosity, and inability to self-reflect, which all require a lot of energy. Both dismissive avoidants and narcissists have a favorite line they love to use: "You're crazy." Always watch out for this. It creates the distance they want to achieve and a lack of self-reflection to ever take ownership or responsibility of their actions. This is clear and hard evidence that you're usually dealing with either types. Number 2, anxious preoccupied needs more reassurance in their relationships as they experience heightened anxiety that their partner may leave them. Their motivators in a relationship is to prevent abandonment as they have abandonment wounding, usually from childhood trauma. Codependents experience the same anxiety and then exhibit people-pleasing, lack of boundaries, poor self-esteem, caretaking, reactivity, poor communication, lack of self-image, and dependency. Number 3, a dismissive avoidant will heighten the insecurities in a relationship with an anxious preoccupied. Because an anxious preoccupied experiences relief from their anxieties through closeness, dismissive avoidants will leave the anxious preoccupied to fix things on their own. Anxious preoccupieds will only get the reaction they desire from a dismissive avoidant by leaving or not putting effort towards them, which begins a cycle, a chase of going around in circles. Of, you can have me, you almost have me, now I want you, now I don't want you. Number 4, a dismissive avoidant with narcissism will never be there for you emotionally. They can't be there for you emotionally because they are not even present for their own emotions. They never created their own internal emotional world or supported the growth of that. They hid it away, suppressed it, and allowed it to atrophy. A muscle never used, so it withered away from disuse. In fact, their way of relating to you is for you to carry the emotional experience in relationship for the both of you. Their emptiness becomes your emptiness in a relationship. They can't ever show up for you emotionally because they have no emotions to give. They will, however, give you enough emotional neglect that you begin to blame yourself and believe that you are the problem. Number 5, an anxious preoccupied with codependency has such a lack of worth, self-identity, and people pleases to excess that they cannot advocate or have agency to prevent development with harmful people entering their lives. They stay and continue effort to make things work, even when red flags are everywhere. The most important advice for an anxious preoccupied with codependency is to realize that they have the power to express their needs, to be an observant person of patterns and behavior, fold and walk away. Typically, anxious preoccupied with codependency suffer greatly from the sunk cost fallacy. The more time, effort, and energy they've invested, the more willing they will stay in a dynamic, even if it's severely toxic. Finally, realize that this does not just apply to intimate relationships, but all forms of relationships, including and especially family. We can have toxic family members as well, encompassing other dysfunctions. It is your duty to realize that attachment styles encompass anybody, including in family dynamics. And through transference, we are bound to repeat things in other relationships because of the way that we were raised. Again, 7 to 11 months is when our baby brains are picking up signaling and understanding our relationship to the world around us and to the internal self. More information about this can be found in the description box below. Lastly, to end this video, I want you to consider this. Be very vigilant of how people source their advice and support from. Narcissists often seek support and advice from other narcissists and their enablers. Because of their grandiosity, they only have those around them that are narcissistic supply. So their viewpoints are never challenged. By default, narcissists are incapable of ever changing. They never grow, period. They will continue to seek others who will feed into their toxic viewpoints. Compiled with the dismissive avoidant attachment style, it's best if these types of people are left alone. They are destructive. They cause harm. Do not engage, not even for a friends with benefits, which is actually one of their favorite things. There is, however, hope for the anxious preoccupied with codependent tendencies. While their patterns are toxic, mainly towards themselves, they can grow. There is hope that they can heal and move towards a secure attachment style and begin finding and relating to others who truly validate them and see them as a whole human being. It's actually quite beautiful when they grow. I know so. I've personally seen it. That's all for today's video. Thank you for joining me today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Waiting daylight, get back.